Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. I hope to see you tomorrow at Mindspeak, that's at the Intercontinental. We serve breakfast from 9:30. We start promptly at 10. I'm co-hosting this Mindspeak with Saharan Sander Ojiambo. We're hosting Eric Solheim, the Executive Director of UNEP, Matters Environment, and he's really very passionate about it, and I do urge you to come. Plus he's got ideas for young entrepreneurs as to how they might make a living out of this environmental gig. So hope to see you there. Intercontinental inspiration came from Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times. Come yet again. Come, come. Tomorrow, 9:30, first Mindspeak of the year. It's a great networking session as well. I hope to see you all there. I like this photograph from Slide Visuals. This is a photograph of the sunset in Dar es Salaam. I participated earlier in the week in the Standard Chartered Bank Economic Outlook, and the centerpiece of the event was Razia Khan, who's the Middle East and Africa economist, and she presented the overall outlook for the world and then drilled into Kenya. It's really good stuff. Do take a look if you've got a moment. Home thoughts. I was interviewed yesterday by the Chinese media talking about the railway, and I showed them this photograph of the railway, the old railway, the Lunatic Express, and I took the photo just outside the Savo some years ago. Nelson Mandela: there is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. And you've seen my favorite photo of his dancing with the girls. He said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. I am fundamentally an optimist. Whether that comes from nature or nurture, I cannot say. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed toward the sun, one's feet moving forward. There are many dark moments when my faith in humanity was sorely tested, but I would not and could not give myself up to despair. That way lies defeat and death. Finally, lead from the back and let others believe they are in front. We won't ask men to change the world, we're going to do it ourselves, said Malala Yousafzai at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And finally, this photograph of a volcano in the Philippines spewing fresh lava and ash for almost 2 weeks caught my attention. Political reflections. US Senator from Hawaii says states should not send missile alerts. Trump, according to a report in the New York Times, ordered Mueller fired, but backed off when his White House counsel threatened to quit. President Trump ordered the firing last June of Robert S. Mueller III, the special counsel overseeing the Russia investigation, according to 4 people told of the matter, but ultimately backed down after the White House counsel threatened to resign rather than carry out the directive. The West Wing confrontation marks the first time Mr. Trump is known to have tried to fire the special counsel. Mr. Mueller learned about the episode in recent months as his investigators interviewed current and former senior White House officials in his inquiry into whether the president obstructed justice. After receiving the president's order to fire Mr. Mueller, the White House counsel Donald F. McGahn II refused to ask the Justice Department to dismiss the special counsel, saying he would quit instead. The people said. They spoke on the condition of anonymity because they did not want to be identified, discussing a continuing investigation. Mr. McGahn disagreed with the president's case and told senior White House officials that firing Mr. Mueller would have a catastrophic effect on Mr. Trump's presidency. Mr. McGahn also told White House officials that Mr. Trump would not follow through on the dismissal on his own. The president then backed off. Ty Cobb, who manages the White House's relationship with Mr. Mueller's office, said in a statement, "We decline to comment out of respect for the office of the Special Counsel and its process. 7th of August last year, I wrote about how the Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller III's hot breath could be felt on President Trump's collar." Lawfare blog, the incident paints a picture of a president who just desperately wants to corrupt the justice system but just can't get it done. Malevolence, tempered by incompetence. Look at this herding of financial people in Davos waiting for Trump yesterday. The Guggenheim Museum offered to give a used solid gold toilet to Donald and Melania Trump, who had wanted to borrow a Van Gogh painting from the New York Museum for their White House private quarters. Instead, the Washington Post reports the Guggenheim Museum's chief curator came up with a pointedly satirical counter-offer, a working solid gold toilet made by an Italian artist. The first couple had asked for Van Gogh's landscape with snow, featuring a man and his dog. Curator Nancy Spector has been openly critical of Trump in social media. She emailed the White House office of the curator in September to say that the Trumps could borrow the toilet installation used by visitors in a museum restroom until mid-September. The 18-carat toilet, titled America, is Maurizio Catalan's jab at the nation's greedier instincts. It has an estimated value topping $1 million. Spector included a photograph in her email saying, we are sorry not to be able to accommodate your original request, but remain hopeful that the special offer may be of interest. The toilet could be a long-term loan, she wrote. It is, of course, extremely valuable, somewhat fragile, but we would provide all the instructions for its installation and care. The Economist is leading with an article, The Growing Danger of Great Power Conflict. And my issue here is really, it seems to me, China and Russia both seem very confident in their abilities and have narrowed the gap. And by not addressing this issue militarily sooner, I don't think it will be easy. The US will be able to address it militarily later. The dollar briefly steadied after President Trump waded into the unusual public discussion over exchange rates. Trump said he favored a stronger dollar. Just a day after his Treasury Secretary endorsed a weaker dollar as good for trade, sending the currency lower. Trump administration chaos continues. Dollar reverses losses after Trump said he wanted a strong dollar. A day after Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said he welcomed a weaker dollar. The euro dropped back below 21.24, but we're back above it again at 124.66. ECB's Draghi took a swipe at the US administration, saying the euro's recent rise was partly the result of comments that contradicted an agreement not to talk currencies up or down. German 10-year yields hit a 6-month high on the ECB's Draghi's inflation comments. Currency markets, euro dollar last at 124.67, dollar index at 88.93, Japanese yen is at 108.98, Swiss franc 0.9374, the Australian dollar also has been all over the place, 0.8083, India rupee 63.537, South Korean won 1062.92, Brazilian real 3.1484, Egyptian pound 17.69, and the rand is well through that level of 12 I previously spoke about, and last at 1186.89. This is a dollar index chart from T Commodity. My target was 88, and I believe we're still headed there. This is another chart of US GDP that Holger has posted over a long period of time. Euro dollar, as you can see from this chart from Holger, has really been all over the place in the last 36 hours, last at 124.65. As I said on the 2nd of January, I'm no longer bullish Bitcoin. Nouriel Rubini says, and I haven't delved into this tweet, without this scam, Bitcoin price would collapse by 80%. And he's saying the regulators are asleep at the wheel. Rubini, indeed, Tether USDT used to manipulate Bitcoin prices. Without the scam, Bitcoin would collapse by 80%. Regulators asleep at the wheel, while $2 billion of fake dollars created via the scam, he says, since December. Not even North Korea created so many fake dollars backed by nothing. 8th of January, I wrote about the crypto avocado millennial economy. 27th of November was when I sort of came off the Bitcoin trade and I said, Bitcoin, wow, what a ride. And also I was talking about the millennials with their avocado eating and cryptocurrency trading ways. They're just as likely to be African, European, or American, I said. Gold, 1355, headed towards a 4-year high. $1,400 is obviously achievable. Crude oil, last trading at $65.35. That's had another strong session of late. Lagarde had a productive meeting with President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe. This was an opportunity to share views on ways to address the severe economic challenges that Zimbabwe is facing and how the IMF might help. I've been writing I've been saying, will it be 1994 all over again? You can all remember the moment when Nelson Mandela came out of prison blinking in the sunlight and assumed leadership. So Ramaphosa could well be the ignition for returning South Africa back to that incredible moment full of promise. And I went back to find what Mandela said on that day. And he said, as I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Ramaphosa said yesterday that the wheels of change are moving now, and we're going to start speeding up, he said. South African oil share closed at an all-time high. It's up 3.66% year to date. Dollar versus rand below that 12 level, headed stronger as well. The rand, Egyptian pound 17.690. Nigeria plans a $2.5 billion Eurobond sale in the first quarter. Nigerian oil shares up 13.82% so far this year. The Ghana Stock Exchange is up 16.48% so far this year. Kenya, the National Treasury only took $5 billion out of a possible $55.8 billion that investors subscribed for in an infrastructure bond floated last week. The Treasury took the paper to yield at 12.505, just about the same as the coupon. I think it's interesting that they went this way because it signals that they wanted to message the markets that they were not prepared to take any old price. EABL, East African Breweries, reported first half earnings through 31st December 2017. Profit before tax was down 9.336%. Headline revenue actually gained 4.676%. Cost of sales was up sharply. They must have spent a good deal of money marketing, up 12.26%. Profit before tax was down 9.336%. Profit after tax was down 11.334%. Earnings per share was down 17.03%. Cash and cash equivalents surged to 4.585 billion shillings, up 236.175%, which is a good sign. The dividend was maintained at an unchanged 2 shillings. Group volumes were up 4%, revenues up 5%. Net earnings impacted by weakness in the Kenyan market, excise tax changes in Uganda, increased sales and advertising, as well as accelerated capital investment to boost future capacity. They characterized the period as difficult. Excise tax increases in Uganda on imported beer, the weakness in the consumer segment in Kenya, driven by election-related uncertainty, continued to impact margins, especially on the value segment of the business, as EABL products became less affordable during the period. Deepened its capital investments to boost manufacturing capacity in order to address rising demand in spirits and tap new opportunities presented by value beer. Innovation's contribution was 21%, up 21%, driven mainly by new brands such as Tiger Cider, Serengeti Light, Uganda Warigi Coconut, and Chrome Vodka. They struck an optimistic note. They're encouraged by the performance in the first half. Board and management have refreshed their focus on the company's marketing strategy, expanding the route to market to consumer to broaden products reach and innovating at scale. They've been making some very big ticket investments, repositioning for growth. Clearly, second half was tough in Kenya, and they've had to navigate some very choppy waters. But I think those were good results given the circumstances. I think there's enough there for investors to continue pushing the stock higher. They've made some big investments, they've played some good defense, and they've really improved their offensive game. Nairobi All Share up 5.46% year to date, NSE 20 up 0.05%. ARM's Panrana family is to buy the non-cement businesses which are being sold by ARM. And finally, there's a link to ARM's share price if you want to look into that. I look forward to seeing you all at Mindspeak. That's at the Intercontinental. See you from 9:30.